My name is Kevin Fernandez, and welcome to my channel, Gamer's Genie. Today, we're going to learn the fresh, nature-loving game, Photosynthesis. This 2 to 4 player game designed by Hajmir Hash and published by Blue Orange Games. The sun rises over this lush, beautiful forest. You grow trees and they collect sunlight for food, but you can cast shadows over your opponents to prevent their forest from growing. But be careful, because the sun revolves around the earth and can block your own trees. Now let's go to the table and learn to play Photosynthesis. Set the main board in the center of the table. Give each player one player board, one light point tracker, 6 seeds of the 4 different types of trees you can get, and 14 trees, 8 small, 4 medium, and 2 tall ones. Matching the trees a variety on their player board. Stack the scoring tokens in 4 piles according to their shade of green and the number of leaves next to the board in descending order, so the highest scores are at the top of each pile. On each player board, place 4 seeds, 4 small trees, 3 medium trees, and 2 large trees on their corresponding open spaces. Then set the light point tracker to 0. Then place the 2 remaining seeds, 4 small trees, and 1 medium tree along each player board. These are the seeds and trees available to each player at the beginning of the game. The youngest player starts the game. Make sure to take the first player token. Taking turns, players place one of their available small trees on a space of the external edge of the main board. Taking turns again, they place a second set of trees. Finally, place the sun segment on the sun symbol printed on the board, making sure there is enough space around the board to move the sun freely to each of the 6 positions. To keep track of the sun's revolution, set the first, second, and third revolution counters on the edge of the board in order, unless playing the advanced version, leave the 4th counter in the box. Me and Jordan will be playing the advanced version so you can get a good look at this game. So we will add the 4th one right there. In a 2-player game, leave the 3 darkest green scoring tokens that have 4 leaves printed on it in the box. They will not be used. When players collect scoring tokens for the middle leaf space, they instead take a token from the 3-leaf stack. So we will be returning this to the box. And that completes the setup. In photosynthesis, the goal is to maximize tree growth in the time it takes for the sun to circle around the board 3 times. Each time the sun is in one position, a round is played. Each round has 2 phases. Phase 1, the photosynthesis phase. This is where you start collecting light points. Phase 2 is the life cycle phase, taking action using light points. The player with the first player token moves the sun segment clockwise. Going to move these here to the next angle on the hexagon. Light points are then collected based on the new position of the sun. Note, the sun doesn't need to be moved when starting the first round of the game. Players get light points for each tree that is not in the shadow of another tree, but we'll talk about that later. Trees cast shadows over other trees, including their own variety. A tree standing in the shadow of another tree will earn light points if it's taller than the shadow casting tree. Players add their light points to their player board by moving the light point tracker. Points accumulate from round to round in this order. Small trees score 1 point, medium trees score 2 points, and a large tree scores 3 points. No points are scored for seedlings. So, for example, nothing's really blocking anybody because I spread them out pretty well, but let's say the sun was here, this tree would be blocking it, and that would be harmful to the player who has the orange trees. Each tree casts a shadow on a side opposite the sun as follows. Small tree casts a 1-space shadow. Medium trees cast a 2-space shadow. And large trees cast a 3-space shadow. Once all light points have been counted, the round continues clockwise with whoever is in possession of the first player token. Players are then free to spend their light points on any number of actions. However, during their turn, a player cannot carry out more than one action on the same space of the main board. Buying. Players can use their light points to purchase seeds or trees of any size from their boards. The numbers next to them correspond to their value in light points. So, as we can see in this player board, you would put the light tracker here, and any light points you get from your turn, you move it up the scale, and it can only go up to 20. Then, if you wanted to do an action, you spend light points by buying. So we're only going to focus on buying for now. So say I wanted to buy a seed. Well, I spend 1 light point moving it up, and then I take this seed. If I wanted a small tree, I spend 2 light points, and if 3 for a medium and 4 for a large. You get it, so on, so forth. Players must buy from the bottom of the board up in any column from the least to the most expensive. Once a player has bought the pieces needed and subtracted the value in light points using the tracker, the pieces are moved to the available area next to the board. Note, the 2 seeds, 2 small trees, and 1 medium tree left in the available area at the end of the setup are available to plant without buying in future rounds. Any other seeds and trees a player wishes to use from their player board must be bought, then placed in the available area next to the player board. Players can plant a seed around 1 or more of their trees using 1 light point per seat. A seed from the available area can be planted at a distance that is determined by the size of the tree from which it originates. You can plant the seed in any direction. So, 1 space from a small tree. You can go up to 2 spaces from a medium tree. We're just going to pretend this is a medium tree, or I can just swap. And 3 spaces from a large tree. There we go. Planting a seed originates from one space where the tree is located. During their turn, a player cannot carry out more than one action on the main board using the same space as a reference point. Therefore, during their turn, a player cannot plant more than one seed originating from the same tree. Additionally, they cannot grow a tree from one size to the next and then plant a seed using the same tree of its origin. So, for example, I can't swap out this small tree for this medium tree, then plant a seed in the same turn. It's just not done. I can pick one or the other. But however, I can plant a seed using this small tree because it has been in play for a while. A seed or tree can be replaced only by a tree that is next size up. Growing from a seed to a small tree costs 1 light point. Growing a small tree to a medium tree costs 2 light points. And growing a medium to a large tree costs 3. To grow a seed or tree on the board, players can only take a new tree from the available area. Trees and seeds that are replaced from the main board are then placed back on the player boards. The topmost available space. If no corresponding spaces are open, the tree or seed is discarded into the box for the remainder of the game. So I think it's a nice, good example time. So as you can see on the player board, there's 4 spaces. However, if you look at these seeds, there's a lot more than 4 seeds. So that means, like I explained at the beginning of this, you get some starters. However, if there's no space, that dies and you can't use it for the rest of the game. It's gone forever. Players can choose to collect scoring tokens by ending the life cycle of their large trees. To do so costs 4 light points per large tree. The large trees removed from the main board and placed on the topmost available space of the player's player board. The player then collects the scoring token that is on top of the pile that matches the soil type of where the large tree was rooted. If there are no tokens left in that pile, the player takes the topmost token of the next pile. Example: a player takes from the 2-leaf pile if the 3-leaf pile is gone. After all players have taken a turn, the first player token is passed to the next player clockwise and a new round starts with the photosynthesis phase. When the sun is completed 1 revolution around the board, the top token of the sun revolution counter pile is drawn and placed in the box. The game ends when the sun has completed 3 revolutions around the board and the last sun revolution counter has been drawn. Players then count the points on their scoring tokens. They also add 1 point for every 3 unused light points. 0 and 2 light points do not score any extra points. The player with the most points wins the game. In the event of a tie, the winner is the player with the most seeds and trees. On the main board, there is still a tie. Both players win. Once the basic rules have been mastered and players are comfortable with them, you can try a more intense variation by choosing to apply one or both of the following rules. Include the 4th sun revolution counter, giving the sun another revolution around the board. And number 2, of course, forgot to do my 2. Players cannot plant a seed or grow a tree when that seed or tree is shadowed by another tree. And that's all you need to know to play Photosynthesis. If you have any questions about this game, please put it in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Be on the lookout for our upcoming gameplay video on photosynthesis. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and now Instagram. I'll put links in the description below. But until our next video, thanks for the views.